I'm here. I'm here, damn it. I'm here. What's up? Hey, everybody. Wow, I may be adjusting the lights in a little while because I was trying to make my face, I'm always trying to get better slowly at my tech game. I know it is a long way to go, but I was noticing that so many of the other lovely ladies who are doing what I'm doing, the YouTube podcasting stuff, whatever, like their faces, like their beautiful faces really pop on screen. And I was like, oh yeah, my lighting generally it's too weak. So I've got more lighting on my face now, but now I'm like melting. Or at least it feels like I am. So I should have had a short sleeve shirt on. This is like my comfort shirt. I've been wearing this constantly. I should have a short sleeve shirt on, and I should, I guess, have turned the air conditioning on. But that's okay. I hope you like the lighting. I might be changing it in a little while if I start to get too uncomfortable. What's up, everybody? Let me know if you have any issues hearing me or whatever. And in case you're wondering, those are sheep on my couch back there. This is basically like, because we don't have kids, this is our guest room. Little guest room / studio. And yeah, I just really like, for some reason, that sheep blanket. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of a subliminal message in there, like, let's not be sheep like these sheep over here. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, and I am back from my little trip. It was just a little trip, an hour and a half down the road, and I took a bus because my guy, he offered to take me, but I actually I guess I'm a weirdo. I like taking the bus. There's hardly anyone on them. And it's like, I don't get as car sick or whatever, because they're bigger, especially if you can sit in the front. I like the panoramic view, the Greyhound panoramic view. I'm not even joking with you. Like, I request that whenever I take a bus ride because it really makes a big difference. So I got my panoramic view there on this Greyhound bus, and people generally leave you alone, and you just kind of, have like a don't mess with me attitude or whatever, as in all things in life. And mostly people don't. But anyway, no, I'm working on a project with someone who lives about an hour and a half down the road. And so a couple of times been going to see this person. It's a video. Hopefully people will like it. Anyway, coming out later. But that's where I was. So sorry about the live stream yesterday. I did have that pre-record ready, but when I went to upload it, it said that it would only take, StreamYard said it would only take MP4 uploads. And so I was trying to convert it on my phone on the bus, but it wasn't working. So whatever. Okay. So anyway, today, going to do a longer live stream and talk about stuff. So I don't have any of my links today. Maybe one of my mods can dig up my PayPal link for tips and put it up there occasionally, because I was bad. I'll put it in the comments too when I end up posting this after we end the live. But here's what we're talking about today. We are waiting still for the Blake Lively amendment, right? Or has it, what just happened? Yeah. Are we still waiting on it, or has it already broken? I'm going to look it up here because I haven't checked in a little while. By the way, I have the worst thumbnail right now for this because I ran out of time. And so it's just a picture of Blake Lively looking seductive. I'm talking about on this video that you're watching here. I don't even have words on it. It's just Blake Lively looking seductive and then live stream underneath it. But whatever. I'm going to try to fix it after. Let's see what we got here. I just want to make sure, though, that nothing is broken yet. By the way, I love Citizen Journalist. You should check out Citizen Journalist online for Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni coverage. Really, really like her. I think it's her. The pictures are her. But she does for the Baldoni thing. I think she's going to end up being like basically a Laura B. Not the Laura B on this chat, but y'all know the other Laura B was documenting, compiling all the court documents and stuff in Depp versus Heard. So she's got a lot of info, and she tends to be where I look first. So her handle is C Journalist. C as in cat, C Journalist 24, and I post her stuff at times throughout. But let me see. She gave me this link to check, and well, let's see here. It does not look like anything has come out yet. Oh, you want me to share this with you? Well, I was asked not to share it so it won't get any more slow and overloaded than it already is. But I'll post it. I'll post it on my page in just a little while. And if anything comes out, I'll give you all the link. But so far, I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything new. So here we are. We're getting a bit later into the day now, and so far, today was supposed to be the day, right? We're getting later into the day now. And so far, no amendments, no amended filings by Team Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds. So we will see, but I expect that we'll be getting that really soon. People saying in the chat, I don't believe Blake. Yeah, that's definitely the side that that I'm on with things. Sorry, I might have to get a Kleenex. So I have had terrible allergies all day, and I think the cats, as usual, are the culprits. We have 2 strays that we've been taking care of. And I love cats. I'm one of those cat people, but I am allergic to them, especially if I have not been around them very much and gotten like a tolerance for them. And so I was sneezing a lot earlier, and to be honest, my eyes are itching right now, but I'm going to resist the urge because I know that scratching makes it worse. It does. It does, but it's just so in the moment is so satisfying. Like right now, I just want to take my fingers and just go shh. That's my sound effect there for scratching my eyes. It's so satisfying though, dude. It's so satisfying in the moment, but then it just makes it all so much worse. There's a great life lesson there anyway, but yes. Yeah. I probably do look a little weird and puffy, but whatever. Anyways, okay. So we don't have the loss. We don't have an amended suit yet, Blake Lively. I don't trust her either. People wanted an update on the so-called leaks the other day, and also had some questions about why I pulled my live stream from the other day. And so basically, hello from Toronto. Toronto is very famous in the Depp versus Heard world or fandom or whatever you want to call it, because Blake Lively, Amber Heard. That was totally a Freudian slip there, not intentional. Baldoni. But anyway, Toronto's famous because Amber Heard on some of these tapes was constantly bitching about something that horrible that apparently she had been subjected to in Toronto. But of course, we never got any verification of that. And we know from listening to a lot of their conversations, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, that she tended to interpret him running away from her as some kind of violence. That's how bizarre she was. Because like in one of their arguments, she'd be like, stop hitting me, stop backing me against a wall or something. And he's like, Amber, I haven't touched you. And she's like, yeah, but when you don't talk to me, when you run away, it's like you're backing me against a wall. It's like you're hitting me. Da, da, da. So it's like basically the opposite. She sees running away as a form of violence. And what can you do with somebody crazy like that? But anyway, that's Amber Heard. So, where's I going with all of that? Anyways. So anyway, we are anxiously awaiting Blake Lively's, the hoax stuff, the hoax leaks. So yeah, so why did I pull the live stream? So when I did my live stream the other day, the news of these leaks, and by the way, if you weren't keeping track or whatever, there were these documents that were distributed to various content creators in the Blake Lively Baldoni content creation world. And these documents, I didn't get them firsthand. By the time this thing had gotten to me, it's like I was getting messages from multiple people, and it was kind of already breaking, right? But if I want to break something, I will put it on my page and get credit, get views for it. Anyways. So, but basically what happened is somebody put these in. I'm still not clear who or whatever. I kind of lost interest in it, honestly, because it's kind of all stupid, right? But whoever was putting these out there, basically they're purported to be copies of official complaints filed with Sony on behalf of Blake Lively and also perhaps 2 other actresses. Was it one of them, Jenny Slate and Isabel Ferrar or something, complaining about mild harassment from Justin Baldoni. And at that point, didn't know if these were real or not. It turns out it's looking like they were probably fake, although we don't really for sure know, but basically have been some way or other discredited. But I was talking about them on my live stream because it had just broken, as if they could very well be legit in terms of these could be actual copies of real complaints. And I was debunking them even on taking them at face value. I was still like, look, this is just a rehash of stuff that Blake Lively has already claimed that doesn't make sense. It's clearly this is just part, look, to me, it's just as part of her overall, Blake Lively's overall scam, or Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' overall scam with this guy to try to get him axed, kicked from this production. and get the cast to turn against him for spurious reasons. So whatever, I didn't care either way. But as it turns out, it was looking like we couldn't verify where these things had come from or if they were fake or not. I was just like, what's the point? So I just pulled the live stream. So it wasn't like any big thing like, oh my God, she pulled the live stream. It's just sometimes you put stuff out there in the moment, and then afterward, you're like, well, that's not really the way that I would present that now, knowing what I know. So that's really it. So this is what I think about those things. We still don't know, but I didn't find them convincing, even when I thought maybe that they were legit. So whatever, we'll see what happens. And if it becomes something, then of course I'll talk about it on this show. So that's that. And I just want to say too, like the other day, that was a really lit, it wasn't yesterday. Sorry, it was the day before because I wasn't on yesterday. But that was day before yesterday. That was a really lit, really cool program that Zach and Dana put on. Zach Peter and Dana, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name, just don't know her work as well. But both of them, they had an awesome live stream that was going through this stuff and trying to explain it, trying to deal with it, also debunking it, where they explicitly talked about why they were skeptical about these supposed leaks. And their stream attracted Candace Owens. Candace Owens was actually getting in the chat and talking with them. And then Ari was there. And of course I was there. Not that was a big deal, but like a lot of people were on this thing interacting and stuff. So that was very cool. And I don't like to see people giving those two shit for only being about clicks, which is like bottom of the barrel stuff that when people can't think of any other way to insult you in this business, like that's what they go for. And I've been following Zach's coverage and to an extent Dana's, and it just seems like, and I've interacted with him privately over DMs, and it just seems like to me, he gives really thoughtful coverage, and he actually is constantly trying to weigh like how to present things and what's the fairest thing and what's the right thing and whatever. And that's been my experience with him, is also just behind the scenes. He's a really cool person. Again, haven't interacted with Dana, but I assume the same for her. So, the haters, like Taylor Swift said, right? They're going to hate or whatever. But I really do like those two so far. So kudos to them. And I think they handled the whole thing well. And we don't always, y'all, look, you are the ones, you and the audience, who seem to want this constant coverage and live streams. And, oh, this is the latest. I didn't even want to cover the whole thing anyway, these leaks, because I really wanted some time to digest them and see what was going on. But I had people messaging me saying, this is what everyone's talking about, and it's like, there is... People say, oh, you're just about clicks. Well, why are you clicking on it then? If you have some problem with what we're doing, why are you watching? It's like, I watched your entire program and I hated every moment of it. Anyways, all right. Enough of me complaining, I guess, whatever. So that's one thing with Blake and Justin. And then look, the other day, I didn't finish what I wanted to say about Ari Emanuel, because actually a couple of days ago, I had intended to do my live stream mostly on Ari Emanuel, the WME guy who apparently said some things, made the stupid baloney comment, and then also said some other stuff, rehashing a moment about Justin Baldoni. He's the guy who fired Justin Baldoni as well, and he bragged about it inexplicably, actually, on this podcast. That'll be interesting, by the way, to hear when it actually comes out, because so far this Ari Emanuel stuff is just someone who was there at the taping of this thing, the live taping of it, has reported on this being said, but we don't actually yet have any audio or video from this. And we also don't have the larger context or of anything else that he might have said. So we just have these snippets. So it'll be interesting to see then what comes of that, or what kind of everything that he said, larger context of what Ari Emanuel said about Justin Baldoni and Blake and Ryan and this whole situation. But I wanted to talk more about this because, first of all, I mentioned this the other day. First of all, I absolutely think that this was intentional on Ari Emanuel's part. Like, he is a big shot Hollywood, head of a major agency, WME, the one that Blake and Ryan are signed with, and that they did fire Justin Baldoni. But this guy is huge. He's the guy that the Jeremy Piven character or whatever on Entourage. If any of you remember that show, Entourage, he's based on, in part, Ari Emanuel, right? So this really like savvy, hard charging Hollywood agent, PR guy, whatever, right? You can't tell me that he went on this podcast that he went on and he did this interview not realizing that absolutely anything that he said on this topic was going to make waves, was going to get heard and promoted by a lot of people. I mean, this has been this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni saga so far, and we're only still a couple of months into it. Hard to believe because it feels like it's been eons now. But this thing has been the hottest story in Hollywood and entertainment. It's the biggest celebrity story right now. And you've got this guy who is at the heart of this whole thing and who fired apparently the person at the center of it, Justin Baldoni, and is now put his entire business in this really weird situation with these competing lawsuits and everything. So you're telling me that this guy knew all of this and he wasn't expecting that he was going to get some questions about the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing, that it wasn't going to come up? No, of course not. So here's my point. Everything that he said in that interview that Ari Emanuel said on this topic, I am quite sure that it was pre-planned. And so to me, that gives the words added weight because it's not some off the cuff BS, that just kind of flies out of his mouth and you're not sure like how much he really means it or whatever. Like this is stuff clearly that this guy has thought about, and he knew going into this, he was going to give these answers. And so we look at then what he says, he makes fun of the guy's of Baldoni's name and pretends that he doesn't know his name or how to say it. And I don't get hung up on racial slurs and stuff like that, or this question of racial slurs, but it's just tacky. Baloney. It's just stupid. It's not even a good joke. Baloney. Baldoni. I mean, come on. If you don't know who we're talking about, let me put up just a picture. And let me go check the website again for the court stuff. Make sure we're not missing anything, because if it comes up, I will go over it. Y'all, and let me know if anything's breaking that I need to know about. You can put it in the chat. What's up, Neil Price? I see you. Oh, by the way, thanks to Neil for all your support. I see you on a lot of my chats as well, but you know what I'm talking about. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I don't see anything yet for this new amendment. Okay, what was I talking about? Oh, I was going to put up a picture of Ari Emanuel. So he goes on this podcast, and there's absolutely no way that he was not prepared for what to say or did not know that it would get attention or anything. And so, you're thinking, okay, he thinks this is good PR. He thinks that this is actually helping WME, is helping Blake Lively, is helping Ryan Reynolds. Here he is. 1 second. He thinks that this actually, and I'm going to have to get a tissue because my nose is running, but let me show you this guy's picture. I'll go away for 30 seconds, get a tissue. Sorry. Those just now joining, having bad allergies. Here we go. This dude. Yeah, so that's Ari Emanuel. Okay. I'm going to go away for like 30 seconds or however long, get some tissues and be back. Sorry, allergy attack, but I will be right back. And we're going to talk about how this guy messed up. Andrea Burkhart even said he messed up. Legal Bite said he messed up. It's just really almost kind of incompetence. Shocking. I mean, maybe I need to go be a Hollywood agent. But anyway, back in a minute. Put this up here. All right. I'll be back. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back with my tissues, which I will not blow into the microphone, at least. You can probably still hear it a lot, though. That microphone is turned up pretty well. Oh, I have a question. For those of you who are into makeup or who have knowledge of makeup, all right? Hold on a second. And I seriously am, in a moment, going to turn off one of these lights because they are annoying me. Okay. I wanted to show you something. Wait, where did Ari go? Did Ari slither away? Did he escape us? I have to bring that back. Bring Ari back. Okay, here we go. There we go. All these side ads go away. I hate all the pop-ups and all that. They're so tacky. So tacky. Are you hearing anything here? Is it playing anything for you? I hope that's not happening. Okay. So here's my question, though, for everyone. This is called a lip plumper. And it almost sounds obscene. I'm sorry, but that's what it's called, right? And it's different than, or so I'm told by the ladies at work, it's different than lipstick in that for some reason, in some way, it stimulates this sounds so kind of obscene or perverse, but it stimulates your lips to get bigger temporarily. Now, I was very skeptical of this. Someone gave this shit to me. This is not the kind of shit that I buy. Okay. I don't want y'all thinking I'm that stupid. No, I mean, I guess if it really works, more power to them, right? But look, someone gave this to me and I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know, by the way, that it was a lip plumper, but I had heard of lip plumpers before. And every time I say that, I feel like I'm saying something dirty. But I had heard of lip plumpers before and I thought that it was BS. Well, someone gave me this, I think like for Christmas or something, and I didn't know what it was, but I just needed one day. I just needed some lipstick or chapstick or whatever. And so I put this on. And then all of a sudden, I started feeling this tingling. And like, it's not an insignificant tingle. Let's just say that. Honestly, it's not. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Am I having some kind of allergic reaction or something? Like I didn't even know this was going to happen. Like I didn't know this could happen, honestly. And so I love how Ari Emanuel is just sitting there like he's listening to my story, but I didn't know how this could happen, honestly. And so then I commented on it at work and some of the girls at work were like, oh yeah, it's a lip plumper. So here's my question. I have not looked into it, but is this something that's going to like give me cancer or something? Because if it can make my lips tingle the way it does, then I mean, it's a pretty powerful thing going on here. I don't know. And I wonder if anybody ever tries to apply it to another place. That's my next question. So things to ponder there, but that is some new makeup technology that I was not familiar with. Is it Fenty? I don't think it is. No, I think it's some like knockoff thing or something. Buxom. It's called Buxom. I don't know. Oh, you can't see it. I don't know what's going on here, but it makes my lips tingle. Oh man. All right, y'all. So let's talk about Ari. On that note, let's talk about Ari Emanuel. So just to remind you what he says, okay, and let me just go back to this really quick. I'm just gonna read it in this article. And yeah, I know you can see it's okay. All my stuff's already out there. So people don't get concerned. Sometimes they do. They're like, oh, this flashed across the screen or that or that. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I even had people have even had over the last 4 years with the Marilyn Manson situation, people putting even like false info out there, like going to the extremes of like typing up false documents and things too. And I'm just like, wow, that's impressive. But yeah, I don't have kids, so I don't care. There's a lot of freedom in that sense in not having kids. And so you're really just like, it's like, well, people can do stuff to me, but whatever, I don't really care. Okay. Justin Baldoni's last name mocked by Hollywood agent who dropped him as a client amid Blake Lively feud. Baloney. Okay. So I'm just going to read the parts of the quotes of Ari Emanuel. It's a fucked up bad situation with what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. As I understand it, Justin, sorry about all the ads, Justin hasn't been called baloney since the 5th grade. Perhaps Ari's perspective would be, oh no, that's Brian Friedman's response. Is that all we're going to get to? Oh, let's go to let's go to the original article because we need to be reminded what Ari Emanuel is actually saying. 1 second. So let me get you there. Let me go to that article. It's raining outside. It's kind of relaxing. Okay, here we go. All right. So Ari Emanuel explains why he believes Blake Lively instead of Justin Baldoni. Remember, this is the dude who fired and has now admitted to firing Justin Baldoni on behalf of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And this is one of the things that Justin Baldoni is suing for because, I mean, it sounds messed up, honestly. I think we all see it. Okay. Power broker and star Ari Emanuel is ride or die for Team Lively. The Endeavor Sorry, someone is calling. All right. The Endeavor CEO is breaking down, and WME guy is breaking down why he supports Blake Lively in her legal and reputational battle against her It Ends With Us director and co-star Justin Baldoni. Emanuel was asked about the clash by Stephen Dunbar, etc. Okay, so he says it's a fucked up bad situation. What Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. Dubner pointed out that Baldoni was previously a client of Emanuel's WME agency, where Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds are still represented. Until I fired him, Emanuel said. Until I fired him. You know, the way it's presented here, it's almost like a brag. Is Ari Emanuel stupid enough to be bragging about this fact that he fired him when in fact this is one of the major points of contention in the legal battles that are now playing out with these lawsuits? Like, we'll talk about this again in a second, but this sounds so like stupid. Until I fired him, Emanuel said. It's not really fair. I've known Ryan and Blake for over a decade. They're really incredible people. In Hollywood, they've been incredibly successful. People work with them. They've never had any bad mojo out there. What does that mean? Or treated people badly. Ha. They are charitable. We helped them with their foundation. They've given away tons of money. Dude, he blatantly, I talked about this the other day, he blatantly lies, says they've never treated people badly or had any bad mojo. Come on. Come on. Blake Lively has already been outed as one of the most difficult people to work with in the entertainment industry. And let's say even half of that is just BS or whatever. That still leaves a hell of a lot of complaints from different reputable sources. And then Ryan Reynolds, you know, he drove a director away from the Deadpool series and apparently has undermined other people in the films that he has been a part of. So come on, that's just totally not credible. All right. And then Emanuel says, if what is, I talked about this too, how ridiculous it is that he keeps cutting this with disclaimers, basically. If what is alleged in her lawsuit, okay, big if, and what happened on social media is true, just because she complained to the studio that things were unhealthy on the set and that he was director and this man, Jamie Heath, was the producer, and they did to her what is being alleged, they're really bad people. Okay, that's a long ass sentence. And do you know why it's a long ass sentence and why he keeps stacking stuff? Again, this is one of the few times when I can brag about having a PhD in English here and teaching writing classes for many years, is that you learn to at least pay attention to sentence construction. And he's got this whole long ass sentence where he's just stacking things. And the reason he's doing that is because it's all predicated on the word if. If what is alleged in her lawsuit, okay, that's the thing that everything else is stacked on, right? And then he stacks a bunch of stuff on it to make it sound like he's saying something. But basically, the fact that it's all stacked on the word if, it's like a disclaimer. He's basically saying this all could be complete bullshit, but if it's true, blah, 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 blah. It's such an obvious trick that, like, really, I think most people can see through. They don't need an English teacher to explain it. All right. And then it says, and continue to Manuel, social media, quote, social media is a really good thing at times because it lets people, stars, connect with their fans. But Baldoni and Heath used it in an evil way. If that's true. Oh, there, another disclaimer. If that's true. Okay. As if to say basically what I just said in that sentence might all be BS. Okay. We just have to be cognizant that social media, can ruin people, and they should no longer be out there intimidating people using social media now and trying to hurt them and abusing them. Baldoni's team should just stop since they think they're innocent and let the process play itself out. And I talked about how fucking retarded it is, ridiculous it is to be asking Baldoni's team to back off now in the PR war when they were completely sucker punched and ambushed. Like, think of one of the biggest surprise ambushes in like military history. I mean, I'm blanking there. Well, Pearl Harbor, basically, no offense, here I'm speaking metaphorically to people who've served or lost people or whatever, but basically it was kind of a metaphorical Pearl Harbor where you had Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds just kind of flying overhead and completely unawares, pew, pew, and just like basically destroyed and canceled Wayfarer and Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni and these others. And then what happens is the other side then, right, Team Baldoni, they collect themselves and then they do the midway thing. And so they surprise their opponents with their like fighting back, right? Firing back, so to speak, at midway. And so then that's like a real gut punch then to Team Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And so now they're whining and they're complaining and they're like, please, please stop dropping bombs on us. Well, you're the one who hit first, bitch. Anyway, I'm not original in saying this. It's what we're all thinking. It's what we all understand. But they're going to keep whining like this and trying to push our sympathy buttons here for Blake and for Ryan. But here's the thing, y'all. It's hard to push the sympathy button when these motherfuckers are going to Saturday Night Live skits. They're participating in Saturday Night Live skits and they're laughing and they're acting like they're having a grand old time. and they're making fun of the situation. Then, Ari, it's really hard then, Ari, to claim, oh my God, we're so oppressed, we've been so abused. These poor people, these poor, really, really nice people, it's been so hard on them. I'm scrolling through my Twitter right now because I want to get these pictures up. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. And people have pointed this out, that this was very stupid. Legal Bites pointed it out. I believe Andrea Burkhart, both attorneys, have pointed this out. I've seen other attorneys pointing this out, that a significant aspect of Blake Lively's lawsuit and claims against Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer is that she has been now subjected through this process to harassment and to some form of psychological torture, basically. And she can't even leave the house or get out of bed or whatever the specific claims are. And it's been damaging to her children, et cetera, et cetera. And yet they're putting on this show like they don't have a care in the world. And this is all, and not just we don't have a care in the world and we're having a great old time. You can make the argument, well, what are they supposed to do if they're going to fight back? Then they have to show their faces and they have to act like they're not hanging their heads in shame. Okay. But then that fucking skit that they did, which you've all seen on SNL, where Ryan Reynolds and with Blake, making perfectly timed mock faces, to go along with it, but where Ryan Reynolds is participating in this skit that directly, obviously, explicitly makes fun of this whole situation, makes light of it. That is, to me, that's taking it a step too far. And I think that the lawyers who've talked about this are dead on in the fact that this does hurt those claims. And if this thing were to go to some kind of trial, then the opposing attorneys will mow her down, Blake Lively, with this. Well, you say in your lawsuit that you experienced this distress and you couldn't get out of bed or this or that. But then look, what do we see here? Well, that's a photo of me. Where were you? What were you doing? Et cetera, et cetera. You seem to be having a great time here, et cetera, right? So I don't know. I just wonder if these two just cannot help themselves. I said this the other day on Twitter, they're like Amber Heard. They don't listen. They're like Meghan Markle in that sense as well, I think. I mean, as ever, my gosh, what the fuck is as ever? As ever, y'all. Here, let me put in the chat. This, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, it's just a little digression here. Just a minute here. Let me try this. Just a second. Here we go. Oh, wait, it went away. Just a second. Again, I'm not good with the tech. I'm not good with the tech. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. I mean, I just can't even with this. As ever, y'all, is the new brand name that Meghan and Harry have chosen for their brand, like their brand. So remember how it was American Orchard Riviera, American Riviera Orchard. I wanted something like that. I mean, even that name was terrible. I mean, we were making fun of that name, dude. And now this is what we've got. They changed it. So it's no longer American Riviera Orchard. It is As Ever. Is that like, look, I'm embarrassed that I have a PhD in English and I have no idea. Is this a literary reference? Is this like Shakespeare or something? I'm serious, y'all. What is this? But my God, it is a reference. If it is, it's a reference that almost no one is going to get. This is ridiculous. It doesn't communicate anything. It doesn't even communicate I'm just, wow. To me, I am shocked by this the same way that I was shocked when Spare came out, or at least when we found out what the title of that book was going to be. Because to me, Spare, I'm talking about the title of Harry's book, to me, that was astoundingly stupid. Because it so trivializes him. And I know it was meant to be in jest, and I know he's basically satirizing the unfair way in which he feels like he was raised and the way he's been treated as the spare heir or whatever. But to give yourself in your autobiography, these are your memoirs. This is like the serious thing that you're leaving to the world about your explanation of your life and who you are and everything. and you're going to use the most trivializing term, one that you think has been forced on you, and now you're going to put it out there with your face, and then spare. Just, I mean, to me, that was just astoundingly bad, head scratching PR there. And also the thing is too, you're tying yourself forever in your memoirs to this sense of grievance. People will always see you, Prince Harry, as someone who is just whining about being the spare and whining about you didn't have enough of this or that, or you weren't given this consideration or whatever. And you make that the title of your memoir, this big kind of dopey picture of you with spare on it. And so forever you're stamping yourself with this extreme sense of, I think, mostly false grievance about the people that you love and who've given you so much in life. And that's how you want to be understood going forward. Like that was inexplicable. But this, dude, I just do not understand. Thanks, Vanessa. Did I overlook something here? Just a second. Check your text. Okay. Sometimes the only way she can get my attention is if she super chats me. Sorry. 1 second. And I do appreciate it. Oh, Ari. Hey, what's up? Glad you're here. Do you want to come on? Let me do the other super chat. Yeah, let me know, Ari. I'm here. I'll just get just a second. Let me go away for a second and get a link, and I'll come back. Okay, y'all hold on for just a second here. Okay, so is it and Ari, by the way, I sent it to your Twitter DM, and then here it is if you want to come on. But is it out yet? So we got the documents? Sorry, y'all. Going on and on about this. 1 second. Let me look. Do we have the amended complaint? I just can't believe, though, how stupid the Meghan Markle, the new name is. That's just like astounding. But okay, let me see what's going on here. I don't see it yet. Somebody help me. Okay, one of my viewers out there who's online tracking shit, can someone see if there is a link? I mean, I have the link to the general page, but has anyone found the document yet, or is it out and I'm not seeing it? I don't know. Anyway, but Ari, feel free to come on. Love to have you. Even if you don't want to put your image out there, I don't know. I love it too when people come on and they just talk. Sometimes the voice is great by itself. So either way, no pressure. But welcome to everybody. I was just slamming the as ever Meghan Markle Harry new business name. That is to me, that's pretty kooky. But anyway, whatever. So this is what I want to say though about Ari Emanuel. Just a second. Let me clear off my screen here because I got a lot going on. It's kind of distracting. Okay. Someone check. Let me know if those amended documents are out. Blake Lively's team. Okay. So back to Ari Emanuel real quick. This is the thing, y'all. He just gave so much legal ammunition to the other side. And that's what to me is just so astounding about this. And it's not just me. I mean, I saw my favorite lawyer, Andrea Burkhart, who I really think is about to get into this case, but she's been looking at a number of other important cases and like criminal cases and stuff where people's lives really are on the line in terms of even their freedom. And so she covers a lot of serious stuff, really serious stuff. Not that this isn't, but really serious stuff. And but she has been commenting on this online, and I think she's been traveling on a lot. I think when she gets home, she's going to start getting into this, which will be great. But she was talking about how Ari made a big mistake there and really handed a lot of ammunition to Team Baldoni. And then Legal Bites, one of the lawyers who became really big, legal commentators became really big during the Depp versus Heard trial. She has commented on it as well, because what he admitted to is firing. He said, until I fired him, talking about Justin Baldoni. Ari Emanuel on this podcast said, until I fired him. I'm putting in the laughing, but that's how I imagine it. So he's admitted now that they fired him, and then he talks throughout this interview contextually that comment, until we fired him, until I fired him, is surrounded by all of this context about he's ride or die. He says that specifically, as a citizen journalist pointed out, he says specifically that I'm ride or die for Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds. And he talks this whole interview, this whole section, I should say, the segment of this interview, he's talking about, going on and on about, oh, they're great. They don't have any bad mojo. They've made so much money. We've represented them so long, close relationship. And then he slips in there and we fired Baldoni, right? So this is really, really powerful evidence of exactly what Baldoni is claiming in his lawsuits, and Wayfarer is claiming, is that there was a kind of a quid pro quo here, or a kind of a blackmail, extortion, whatever you want to call it, going on here, where Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were threatening WME. They were threatening to leave WME, and they were threatening to, take their friends with them and take Taylor Swift with them, perhaps, and all of this, right? And this is also where Taylor Swift kind of fits in. They were threatening all of this. And so unless Justin Baldoni were not fired or dismissed or punished or whatever, right? And so at this point, Ari Emanuel and WME fire Justin Baldoni, which Ari is admitting to here. And basically at the behest of, the demand of, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. So thanks a lot, Ari Emanuel, for just providing proof out of your own mouth. You were so focused on getting your stupid, tacky, sleazy zingers in there. Oh, baloney. Oh, baloney. You're so focused on that. And you made big mistakes. Big mistakes. Okay, y'all. Let me see what's going on in the chat here, okay? Because I'm about to move on and talk about some other things, but we're all waiting here for the amended filing to drop. So are you still in the chat? Ari, do you want to come on? She might have dropped by to say hi, but I do see Takeaway Rose. Oh, Takeaway Renee. Sorry, misread it. Diana used to sign off with "as ever," no originality. Oh, it's something that Princess Diana would say. Oh God, that's even worse. My God. Look, y'all, I have not covered the Meghan Markle, Prince Harry stuff very much. I do have for those who are interested in it, I do have a playlist, and I have maybe I don't know, 9-10 videos on that and on the royal family. But the reason why I don't cover it, have not covered it much, is that I feel like it's one of those things that, yes, what Meghan and Harry have done is wrong, not leaving for California, but the way that they've misrepresented the royal family and et cetera, but that it was something that, generally speaking, it was just kind of like royal family drama. It didn't seem as important to me as some of these other cases where people have been totally canceled. They're losing their livelihoods. In some cases, they might be losing their freedom or whatever, depending on which we're talking about, what have you, right? But I will say this, it just is astounding to me how many mistakes these two keep making, even from just a purely PR perspective, Meghan and Harry. And so it's probably time for me to do some kind of an update video where I talk about, because the last video that I did, if you want to look it up, I talked about their big Netflix documentary, and I went over some of the lies and misrepresentations. I also did a video similarly after the Oprah interview. But it's been a while, so maybe it's time to revisit that. But as ever, it's just terrible. Just terrible. These two, man. And look, one more thing I want to say here about Prince Harry and Meghan. I don't care how much he initially loved her or how much he still loves her. And we've all been, I think, in relationships at times with either narcissists or people with narcissistic tendencies or whatever. And maybe people with self-knowledge even realize that they've been the narcissistic one in the relationship, whatever. But we understand that when people are trapped in these relationships, that it takes a long time to come to your senses or get out of them or whatever, right? I have a lot of sympathy for Harry, but I do think that he really failed this live test in allowing himself to fall so head over heels with her so uncritically, and and then allow her to, I think, lead him in to such a disastrous course of action as he's engaged in over the past, what has it been now, like 5 years or whatever, at 4 or 5 years. And so, and to have said the things that he said publicly about the royal family, his relationships, to write that book, or have that book written about him, that whining book, Spare. I mean, just all of it. Like, he should have really, as they say, manned up, and, or we can use whatever term we want to use, but you know what I mean. He really should have, in this situation, and not allowed her to ruin it, to allow him to ruin his life this way. And he doesn't seem happy to me in the photos that we see of him, the videos that we see of him. And knowing what we know of her, I don't see how long term he could be happy. And so I do feel sorry for him, in the sense that I think now he's probably gotten to the point in this saga where he's got to have moments where he wakes up in the middle of the night and he thinks to myself, what have I done? But because by now the naive, romanticized love that he felt for her in the beginning, it's got to have worn off. I'm not saying he doesn't still love her. She doesn't still, she doesn't still have his heart, because in these situations, like with narcissists, we know, like, years and years it can take, right, for someone to tire of this truly, or to want to get away. But y'all, I mean, his whole life, he's been uprooted, taken from his friends, or he's left his friends. He's left everything he grew up with. And here's the thing, y'all. Do you know how it's sort of the grass is greener on the other side thing? But do you know how in life you fantasize about certain choices, and it could be people that you want to be with, or it could be like places you want to live, or a job you want to take, or whatever it is, but or vacation you want to go on, I don't know. You fantasize about certain choices, and how great they're going to be. And then when you actually take those paths, then often what you find is that they entailed all of these problems and hassles that you weren't expecting. And in her case, Meghan, I think this has to be triply so, because he, I think, really saw her through these romanticized glasses, and he was sick of life in the royal family, and he was hyper sensitive to all the ways he had been, in his mind, mistreated as the spare and all that. And so I know that when she came along and she said, let's go to California or whatever, and let's get out of all of this, and I can have a Hollywood career, and we'll be like the talk of the town, A-listers, royal family, and there, et cetera, right? I know that it had to have seemed to him like, of course, almost a no-brainer. This is what we need to do. But what happens is, I'm sure what happened is, once they got to California, and once they settled into life, and once they started having these professional disappointments, and apparently Spotify and others that they worked with had terrible experiences with them, in terms of, like, they didn't really intellectually, artistically know what to contribute, and that Harry seemed honestly kind of exasperated with the whole process, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think what happened is that Harry got to California, and after a while, real life, the reality settled in, and he saw that this is not some utopic way of life either. And now look, I'm stuck in this life that this isn't really doing it for me either. And except I'm away from my friends and my family and this entire environment that was home to me and that nourished me psychologically and emotionally my entire life until this woman came along. That has got to be, and to know that you've lost your reputation, y'all. Like, look, I make videos all the time, especially on my philosophy video list, about how we should not live our lives for others, and we ultimately answer to ourselves. And there are many times in life where, to be true to yourself, you have to go against what others want. So I will never, I celebrate a Nietzschean figure who stands up against the crowd and against the mob. Like, I do it every day, but it is true also that we need family, we need friends, we need a nourishing home environment. And I just, even with his kids and his wife, like, I can't imagine Harry feels good now knowing that he gave up all that he gave up in England with the royal family and all of that for this kind of rudderless, kind of superficial existence that he's got now with Miss As Ever. So I think it's a sad state of affairs. I'll draw this to a conclusion now, because I want to talk about other stuff. And I also want to get back to checking on the Blake Lively thing. But I think that this As Ever rebranding is really just a kind of a sad death knell on the coffin of Prince Harry's hopes and dreams for his new life in California, apart from the royal family. It is sad. It is sad. But anyway, maybe I'll do a video or maybe I'll cut this and put it out for people who are interested. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna look at the chat now. What's going on? We got into anything? Let me check the website. Come on, Blake. Suck it to us. I don't see it. Okay. I guess Ari went out of the chat, but check out her stuff for sure, Ari Jacob. So, what's up, anybody? Anybody? Let me kind of scroll through these. And well, okay, I tell you what, let's talk about the other stuff I want to talk about. Candace Owens. I know that at times I am critical of her on here and on social media for various reasons. And not, I don't think severely so, because I've also had a lot of nice things to say. And in general, my attitude tends to be hate the game, not the player, right? And I cannot argue with the fact that she has been very, very effective in getting viewers and getting stories out there and presenting them in such a way that it really energizes people to pay attention. And I saw where she was talking today or yesterday, or she was saying on Twitter, she was showing her stats, I should say, and something like in the past month, she has gained 450,000 new subscribers. And that is huge. Even for someone with her following, that is huge. Oh, just ignore the caption here on this. I'm not trying to say anything. There we go. I was just trying to get a picture of her up. So that is huge, and that is why you're going to continue to see her covering this Blake Lively Baldoni thing a lot. And then also, I know that the story about Brigitte Macron is also getting a lot of interest, because I know that I'm watching every episode, and no, I remain unconvinced by it. And someone asked me today on Twitter, they said, "Why don't you do something on this?" And I said, "Well, I want to wait until I've seen everything, until Candace finishes her series, and I've seen everything that she has to put out there." And then I want to kind of think on it and maybe doing a little looking around and fact checking on the internet myself or what have you. And then I'll maybe have some things to say. So, but I'm watching it and giving it a try, even though I still don't buy it. I know the latest thing is that there's a picture that she found, she and her, and then the French investigator working with her, a picture of the brother that she believes is actually Brigitte herself before he transitioned into a woman. She has their pictures side by side. And a lot of people have really been freaking out over this in a sense of like saying, well, like this is conclusive, right? Look at this. Here, let me show you. But here's my thing. Like a brother and a sister, aren't they supposed to look alike? Like, that doesn't have to mean that they're the same person, right? Like, this is the problem I keep having. No offense to Candace, because it's fascinating. And I think she has every right to get into this stuff if she really believes it. And I do think that she really believes it. But I keep like sort of waiting for the evidence, the conclusive evidence. And there are things that are kind of flashy that are presented, but then you think, well, wait a minute. There's also like a good reason for this, right? Like, if they're brother and sister, shouldn't they look a lot alike? I don't know, but y'all, look, if they're the same person, if Brigitte Macron is a man, I'm totally on board with if that's the truth, with people's right to know. I was saying earlier that what does it matter or whatever, but I can see if someone is completely, as a politician, misrepresenting like their entire, like basically like life or whatever. And also, and I can see the argument that maybe the voters should know something like this. Okay. But the other stuff, like she's trying to get into with like the Illuminati, and I don't know, I feel like she's almost building up to say that this is like the Antichrist, that Macron is the Antichrist or something, and that Brigitte is his trans handler. I don't feel like that's actually too far from what Candace has been getting at. So again, no offense to anyone. I'm watching it. Candace, I recognize, is a master at getting this kind of attention and whatever. And the programs are very well produced. It's just, I don't buy it still as yet, but we will see what happens. All right. I'm getting some super chats here, but I wanted to say one more thing about Candace, and then I'm gonna check my super chats. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted some pictures of her while I talk about her. Make this a little bit. There we go. No, what I appreciated from her today is that she posted something. Oh, wait, actually, we do need to go. Sorry. We do need to go back to her Twitter. Nah, I'm so bad with technology. All right. Where are we at? She posted this, and I really appreciated it. Come on, there we go. So it's the guy from the Dos Equis commercial, and then the caption is, "I don't always say I told you so, but when I do, it's because I told you so." And then and Candace is reposting this. Someone else has posted this in her honor. And so then, oops, here we go. So then she reposted it, and this is what she wrote: "Don't forget COVID vaccines, BLM, Marilyn Manson, and the Me Too movement, but who's counting?" Candace, thank you so, so much for putting Marilyn Manson in there, because I knew that there were going to be, there's make myself big so she can, if she sees this. Candace, thank you so much for putting that Marilyn Manson thing in there, because I know that there were a number of people for whom in your audience for whom that probably came a bit out of left field. I know you've talked about it before once on your show a while back, when one of his primary accusers flipped and declared the whole thing was a hoax and that she lied and all that. She filed a legal affidavit saying all that. And at that point, you said that you were going to look into it more, and that you had realized there was this whole other dimension of this and that he might be innocent. So I would love to hear more, even just a little update. And you don't have to credit me or whatever, but I would love to hear a bit more on that, because a lot of people don't know that he was just cleared by the LADA. And a lot of people don't know any of the interesting facts of the case, frankly, which you could shed light on. I say do an episode on it and go through all of the big stuff, and people's jaws will drop to the ground. Really, it'll be interesting. So I hope you do that. But Candace, I appreciate this. And then she did one other thing. So I commented here. Where? Oh, wait, these are just a second. Just I keep showing that picture of the of Brigitte Macron and her brother, or her, depending on who you believe. Okay, now, but let me show you this. So under this, here we go. Oh, that's me. Where is it? Ah, here we go. So I posted, "Yes, Marilyn Manson is innocent. I've done like 200 videos on it." And she liked it, y'all. I really appreciate that. I don't want to give away any, and I know people can't see them publicly, and I don't want to give away anybody's links, but she did like it. And so then I reposted then on mine, a thank you. Oops, that's from Apocalypse Now. I reposted on mine, a thank you to her for that. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. So anyway, I thought that was cool. I appreciate it. And I do hope that she will follow up in some way on this thing. And because there were a lot of people, y'all, in the comments who were like, "Wait, what's that about Marilyn Manson?" And I guess the last thing I want to say to Candace is, I think that this story, the Marilyn Manson thing, it is waiting for someone with a higher profile than I have to really expose and promote this story. Because even though I know Marilyn Manson is not Johnny Depp, or even maybe Justin Baldoni, in the sense of being very likable to a lot of people right off the bat, because he does have that public image and that performative thing that's problematic for a number of people. But in fact, even though he is actually a really nice guy, but this thing has this Manson story, Candace, it has so many jaw-dropping elements. And you can look at some of my videos, yes, to see it. And there's a whole thread. If people will just go to my page on my highlights on Twitter and find the thread, and I've just got all of the reasons why he's innocent and all of the most compelling aspects of this case. You look at that and you think, this story needs someone with a high profile, and also with the patience to do a multi-part series on it, to really put it out there for people. And people are going to be like, holy shit. So I hope you will consider it. I'm throwing down the gauntlet, so to speak, or whatever, right? Throwing down the challenge. And I do hope that you will do that, Candace. And of course, I would love maybe a mention at some point, but it would still be to my benefit, and most of all to the truth and to Manson's, even without a mention to me, of you putting that shit out there. So I hope you do that. Okay. Give me 5 minutes. I have some super chats. Okay. Wes Short, you're on a roll. Oh, wait, who is Wes Short and what's he on a roll about? But I appreciate what you're saying. Oh, someone said I saw Ethan Ralph in your chat. Yeah. Don't worry, there ain't nothing in my DMs lately that you can't be seeing. Oops. No, I've said before, Ethan Ralph is the father of my child. And just like just like Laura, Ashley St. Clair, just like Ashley St. Clair, I'm trying to get Ethan Ralph to formally recognize his relationship to my child. And so I was hoping that when I announced the other day, when I announced that I had had a child with Ethan Ralph, I was hoping that that would spur him to step up and be a fucking man about it and claim this kid and say, yes, this is my kid. But he didn't say a word. I got no response. No response. And so, yeah, so I messaged him and I said, you better fucking step up to the plate and step up to your responsibilities. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get a bunch of my peeps on your ass, basically. So that's what I said to him. But yeah, I'm considering whether or not to formally introduce my audience to this child. So far, I did not wanted to reveal the child's name or face. But if Ethan continues to deny paternal responsibility, public paternal responsibility, then I might have to be forced to like call the New York Post and do a full-scale photo shoot with me and the baby. So think about that. Think about it. Okay, where's my super chats? I'm trying to get Nick Ricada on the show. I just keep bothering him now, like regularly, like every 2 days I will send Ricada because I think I don't care about talking about his personal life. I think talking about him, I think that not talking about him, but talking about Blake Lively, the Blake Lively saga, the Baldoni thing, and then whatever else he wants to. But I think people would love to hear Ricada weigh in on this, even though he doesn't, maybe not been keeping up with it a ton, but you don't have to keep up with it a ton, just kind of in the air, just sort of know what's going on. It's been everywhere. Anyway, want him to come on my show. So yeah, I keep bugging him. Jody, super sticker. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Joanna, you have been with me for a long time. You have been a watcher and contributor, and I do appreciate you for that. And I see your comments a lot on Twitter. We don't always agree, but, and I say that just because I appreciate people like you who at times have taken issue with my coverage of certain things, but at the same time continue to watch. It's the people who they watch you for a while, and then there's one thing that you have an opinion on that they don't agree with, and then they drop you and they're like insulted. It's like, did I cut some contract with you that we were always going to agree on things? Because I wasn't aware of that. Anyway, so Joanna says, just wanted to give you a little something after all the years I followed you. Thank you. You've given me stuff before too. I remember, but I appreciate you. Okay. Anybody else? Do we still not have the documents? Let me look. Blake Lively is late. She's late, motherfucker. She's late. Late Lively. All right. Now it's not even loading. So I don't know. Maybe they have the documents now, and this is a sign that it is. I don't know. Okay. I need a break. I will keep streaming. I want to talk about more Blake Lively Baldoni stuff. I want to get on here and see what the deal is, if these documents are out or they aren't. But I want to talk about that. And then I wanted to talk about, Jay-Z. I know it's not the most popular topic with a lot of you because you so believe or so wanted him to be guilty. I do think it's a distinct thing from the Sean Diddy Combs situation. And I do think that lawyer going after both of them has filed a lot of BS obvious money grab lawsuits. And so anyway, and certainly the way that he's conducted himself toward Jay-Z, I think has been despicable. All right. So that's what I want to focus on a bit. There have been recent developments in the Jay-Z case, and Jay-Z is behaving in such a way to also reinforce to me that this guy is innocent or believes he's innocent and wants to fight back. So we're going to talk about that a bit. I do want to, but I also want to talk about too, Marilyn Manson and Rammstein. The Rammstein drummer, Christoph Schneider, proudly posted on his Instagram page, not just a story, but like a post, permanent post, right? Him at Marilyn Manson's, backstage at Marilyn Manson's concert with his arm around him after Manson's Berlin concerts. We'll talk about that and how the Berlin thing turned out. The protesters stayed home, but they did these really pathetic little signs on fire hydrants, believe it or not. We'll talk about that a bit, talk about Jay-Z a bit, Baldoni and Lively, yes, more, and hopefully we're going to get some documents dropping. So we'll go away for 5 minutes, be back. Thanks to my mods. If you need to leave or not, whatever, it's good. But everybody else, I will be back in 5 minutes. And in the meantime, you know what? I'm going to put on one of my Marilyn Manson videos because I've got it here right in front of me. All right. So By the way, I put my best stuff on my I do take my highlight page seriously on Twitter. So if you do want to see what I consider across topics to be my best videos and posts, then check that out. But this is a video that I did right after the recent documentary on Manson, the Channel 4 documentary came out. And this is his attorney, who I think is up there with Brian Friedman in terms of being a really great advocate for Manson. But here he is talking about the case.
But emotionally. And
we'll be back.
This whole scheme has been based upon Evan Rachel Wood doing everything to destroy Brian, not only professionally, but emotionally. Ashley called me. She said, I really want to tell the truth. I feel horrible what's happened. I don't want a dime out of this. Please convey my apologies to Brian. You know, I was persuaded for a minute by Evan that I had been raped, and that was false. I spent 2 weeks with Brian, and they were wonderful, and I wish him all the best. So not only was this made up, but she had been persuaded to bring a claim under the theory that her memory had been repressed and that she's not remembering accurately what happened 10 years earlier. My sense is the pendulum is swinging the other way. People are looking at these cases and starting to realize that maybe we've gone a little too far with this maxim that you must believe the woman whatever she says, especially when it comes to a woman who acknowledges a consensual sexual relationship and then 10 years later changes her story. It's demonstrably false that Brian raped Evan Rachel Wood while filming a music video. This was filmed in a studio. There were more than 10 people within 3 feet of the bed. Brian had clothes on, but none of those people have come forward and said that they witnessed this act. It's completely fabricated, and there's not a witness who will support it. I have declarations from witnesses who were there at the time, credible witnesses, who say that her allegations are impossible. She never had access to her tour bus. This just didn't happen. Brian has never communicated with this alleged victim. No phone calls, no text messages, no emails, no letters, no AOL chats. Did not happen. He never met the girl, never had sex with the girl. It's completely fabricated. Didn't happen. Ashley Walters had the time of her life. She had his credit cards, she had his car keys, she was around rock stars. She never complained. And it's ludicrous to 10 years later claim that somebody sexually harassed her. Nobody takes a job as a personal assistant for a rock musician thinking that this is working in a corporate environment. They were intimate relationships. They were entirely consensual. And for at least a decade after the relationships, no one claimed they were not consensual.
I struggle to speak to you today.
They were all false claims. This whole scheme has been based upon Evan Rachel Wood doing everything to destroy Brian, not only professionally, but emotionally. When Evan Rachel Wood identified her alleged abuser as Brian, within 24 hours of these allegations becoming public, his record label dropped him, his talent agent dropped him, and his manager dropped him. But emotionally, doing everything to destroy Brian, not only professionally, but emotionally. When Evan Rachel Wood identified her alleged abuser as Brian, within 24 hours of these allegations becoming public, his record label dropped him, his talent agent dropped him, and his manager dropped him. In these times, he knew he was getting canceled based upon what were horrendous and false claims. Evan Rachel Wood, I think, was quite embarrassed about her actions as a younger girl when she was with Mr. Warner, Brian. Then she started encouraging other women to make false allegations. And then they do that to a mainstream publication. So these completely bogus claims were made because of Evan Rachel Wood. I have signed declarations from people who are witnesses under penalty of perjury, who were there at the time of the alleged incidents, who say that her allegations are impossible. I think the ridiculous nature of the allegations against the record label belie the credibility of the entire complaint. I mean, there's a different agenda there that has nothing to do with Brian and everything to do with the lawyer making money by booking a bunch of cases. Brian has not been given a fair hearing. But I hope that sooner rather than later, people will see that he was wrongfully vilified and is vindicated.
I want to leave us with something here directed to Evan Rachel Wood. I still have a few questions that have not been answered. Why did one of Manson's main accusers admit in a legal declaration that she lied, that the whole thing is a hoax, and that you pressured her into it? Why did you forge that FBI letter? And if you claim that you didn't forge that FBI letter, then how did you just mysteriously come in possession of it? Why is it also then that we have iPad records of you and your co-conspirator drafting this letter? Did the stork deliver this letter? But then why the records of you drafting it? Evan Rachel Wood, why did you kidnap your child? And why did your ex-partner, father of your child, Jamie Bell, accuse you of kidnapping and withholding the child, attack your character, call you basically more or less delusional, and say that you were endangering the psychological health of the child with delusions and fantasies? Why is
Yeah, dude, the stuff that Jamie Bell, oh, hold on, make this go away. The stuff that Evan Rachel, oh, you can't hear me, my bad. The stuff that Evan Rachel Wood's ex, the actor Jamie Bell, accused her of in those family court documents, and this, by the way, was why she ended up losing custody of her kid for a while. The stuff that he accused her of is, man, I mean, you read that and then it's like a huge aha moment. It's like an epiphany. And it was for some. There were some people who had resisted thinking badly of Evan Rachel Wood and who had resisted the idea that she was at the center of a massive hoax, Me Too hoax against Marilyn Manson, until some of us leaked those court documents, or not leaked, presented these court documents that were available to anyone who wanted to look, but put them out there. And these family court documents in Tennessee. And then people saw, a number of people finally saw Evan Rachel Wood's real character. And they were like, oh, okay. So this woman is crazy and she's deceptive and a liar and all of that. And this seems to be what her ex is saying. And that she kidnapped her kid from him and all of this stuff. So anyway, that's a whole other thing. And again, I don't even have time right now to get into that, or the FBI letter that she faked in family court, or any of the other stuff. But Candace Owens, I hope, will. Seriously. All right. I was going to talk about Elon Musk, y'all. So I've said some things that may to some people sound pretty extreme. Uh-oh. So I want to go to Twitter. By the way, I still don't see where these documents, the Blake Lively amended documents, amended court filing has been given to us. 1 second. I'm going to make this go away. I'm going to go to Citizen Journalist page, which again is kind of like where I'm my central source of information now for a lot of this stuff, and just make sure that I haven't missed anything. Like I said, Citizen Journalist on Twitter very much becoming like the Laura B person for this story. Laura B from the Depp versus Heard days, and she would compile all these court documents. Ended up going, I don't know, Laura B, if you're out there or not, sometimes she watches my show. But she went to trial and all of that, to the Depp trial. Okay. Let's see. I don't think it's up yet. No, I don't think it's up yet. All right, but I'll keep looking, keep waiting, right? But let's talk about Elon Musk stuff. All right. So Ashley St. Clair may not have been on your radars. She was on mine and on Ari Jacobs and a few others, because Ari Jacob had some negative experiences with her, negative interactions with her. And then I didn't have strong feelings about this woman either way, but I just noticed that she got a ton of views and seemed to be someone that Elon Musk promoted a lot. And there were a lot of things that I agreed with her on and some things I didn't agree with her on and whatever, but just really, I didn't devote really any thought to this woman. But what happened was on Valentine's Day or the day after Valentine's or whatever, this influencer, podcaster, what have you, announces and then does a full spread, photo op article with the New York Post, but announces that she had given birth to Elon Musk's child. Sorry, let me get the images here. I'm going to my my own Twitter here and bring up some of this. Trying to find the original stuff. Anyway, she announced that she had 5 months ago given birth to Elon Musk's child, and that she was afraid that, or she found out that a major tabloid was about to out her and out the child, and so she decided basically to get ahead of it by outing herself, et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to find the original post here. Let's see, Ashley St. Clair. Anyway, all right, here we go. Let me show you. Oh no, it's Citizen Journalist. Yeah. Let's add another one. But Citizen Journalist is really good. Okay. So this is what Ashley St. Clair posted originally. 5 months ago, I welcomed a new baby into the world. Elon Musk is the father. I have not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety, but in recent days, it has become clear that tabloid media intends to do so regardless of the harm it will cause. I intend to allow our child to grow in a normal and safe environment. For that reason, I ask that the media honor our child's privacy and refrain from invasive reporting. And then she gives her media contact point guy. Brian just cracks me up. Brian Glicklich. Digital Strategy Limited, Brian at digitalstrategylimited.com. Please give me privacy, and here's my PR guy for all inquiries. So look, y'all, I've posted, and then if you've been tracking the story, the crazy character Milo Yiannopoulos, who says all kinds of outrageous and at times very offensive things, whatever, he started ragging on this girl and this lady online for various reasons. And then there was a fight that broke out between different influencers on the right, some claiming that we shouldn't be romanticizing this kind of relationship where there's going to be some degree an absent father and it's out of wedlock, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this girl has some kind of like a porn cam history or what, I don't know. And then people on the other side who are saying, wait a minute, I thought we were pro-life. And now this woman is being shamed for being a single mother, et cetera, et cetera. And then I thought, again, I thought Elon Musk was, doing a lot for the family, promoting, kind of like tradish values or saying have as many children as you can or whatever, right? So a lot of like dissension in the ranks, so to speak. But I had some things to say and might have been a little rough, too rough in how I expressed them. I don't know. We'll see how they age over time. But let me go to my page here. Yeah. Y'all are seeing this? Scrolling down. Yeah. Okay. Where is it? My first one. Okay. Okay, first of all, when I went to the New York Post article, because Ashley St. Clair claims again that she's been trying so much to safeguard the privacy of her child, and the only reason that she's coming out on Valentine's and announcing this is because she was notified they were going to out her. And so then she decides to out herself and then also do this like multi-photo, multi-page spread, so to speak, in the New York Post and interview and everything. And so she had there were these different pictures. And this, hold on, let me see this a little bigger. I was trying to make it bigger. This is one of the photos here, photo ops here. Now look, y'all, this is what I said. I said, Ashley St. Clair really thinks posing with a chessboard is really going to make her seem like a sophisticated intellectual. Girl, I know you're trying to compete with Neuralink exec Siobhan Zillis, but the tacky chessboard photo ain't going to do it. And then I say Elon Musk's baby drama, and I think I wrote continues to entertain or whatever. Some people, y'all, even noticed that she apparently has the chessboard set up wrong. Look, I don't laugh at people for not knowing how to play chess. I know how to play chess. Okay. I don't. It's probably some great failing on my part too, because it's supposed to be like this really like great game. It's great for your cognitive abilities and I don't know, whatever. But y'all, it's just this woman is clearly trying to play the media in various ways. And I don't have a problem with someone doing a certain kind of PR for themselves, but like we are allowed to be able to see through it or question it. And so she's got this chessboard, not even apparently set up correctly. Several people were chiming in online to say, but this is supposed to give us a sense that this woman, is an intellectual or whatever. To me, it just seems kind of pitiful and silly. But whatever, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even her idea. There were other weird photos too. There was one, I don't have it here, where she had her shoes off and she was posed kind of seductively in a window, a high-rise window, but her feet were in the forefront. Her legs were stretched out. She had like a dress on, but her legs were stretched out and her bare feet were in the forefront. And it's just like, I'm not saying this in a prudish way, like, oh my God, or whatever. Like, I don't care, but I'm just saying like, one of her complaints is that in her supporters is that she's being dismissed as or even made fun of as being a woman, let's just say, not adhering to trad values. And so then in some of these photos, she seems to be promoting herself in a provocative way. Not this one. This is trying to pose as an intellectual. And look, the reference here that I was making to Siobhan, I'll come back to this, but this is the baby mama for 3 of Elon's children at this point, and I'm getting that right? Isn't it? It's two twins and then another one. But he's had multiple children with this woman, and I really think highly of this woman. And so, to the extent that I think lowly of Ashley St. Clair, and I do have a low opinion of her just from what I've seen so far, it's the opposite for this woman. I've got no issues with her, and she's extremely intelligent. Apparently a very intelligent, highly competent executive at Neuralink. She's like basically in charge of Neuralink, right? But apparently is one of these women who got there legitimately because she is really great as an engineer, an executive, what have you. And so anyway, she was at Neuralink for a long time before she and Musk got this relationship going or decided to have kids. And I think they did it artificially, but I'm not totally sure, right? But anyway, here's the point. This is the woman who was pictured with him at some of these MAGA events and whatever, right? And this was the one who was taken to the inauguration ball. And this is the one that he poses with a lot. And she seems to be, right now at least, Siobhan seems to be the wife figure in his life. And so So I look at what Ashley's doing, and I'm not the only one to point this out. A lot of people have been saying this online, that it's the timing of this disclosure on Ashley's part seems really kind of strange or convenient, because it's also Valentine's, and she's seeing these pictures of Elon hanging out with his, I guess, preferred official lady and those kids. And if you are Ashley, who claims that she basically has been shut away by Elon, that he's embarrassed of their association, she claims. She says this, by the way, in the New York Post article, something to this degree. And then also she posted some stuff at Elon on Twitter. So basically, this is what's crazy is Elon said "whoa" on Twitter in response to some stuff that Milo Yiannopoulos had been posting against Ashley. And of course, when you respond to someone, if you're Elon Musk and you've got like, millions and millions of followers, when you respond to someone, that directs a whole lot of attention to them. So basically, Elon Musk was directing attention on Twitter to this guy who was saying outrageous, terrible things about Ashley St. Clair, Elon's baby mama. So anyway, the point is, through her response there and then some stuff that she was saying in the New York Post, it becomes clear that Ashley St. Sorry, y'all. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Elon Musk shut me off. He shut me off there. So this is basically what happened here. And no, Elon, your games are not going to work. Okay. Your intimidation is not going to work. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. But this is what happened when I went away there for what was like 40 seconds there. This is what happened. Immediately, Elon Musk came on my screen, and somehow he's been able to hack into StreamYard and into my computer system or whatever, right? And so Elon Musk was on the screen, on the monitor, in front of the monitor, and he told me, he said, "Kristen, I've had enough of this. Cut this shit out." And then the screen goes black, and then all of a sudden, I'm back on with you guys. So that's what happened. It's what happened, and I'm not going to be intimidated. It's going to take a lot more than that, Elon. A lot more than that, my friend. No, but seriously, the Matrix is after me. Someone says, "Kurtz, where are you?" I'm here. I live in Texas. Anyways, what was I saying? So this is the situation. Like, I feel sorry. I actually feel sorry for Ashley in a lot of ways, but then I also believe that women should take responsibility for their actions. And as others have said, this was obviously, if you had any sense about you, this was an obviously transactional relationship. Even the way that Ashley has described it, coming about very sort of casually and being very contractual and stuff, even with the having of the kids, right? And so then to complain, you hook up with this billionaire who has this really bad track record, I think, my own opinion, but with the way that at times he treats women, or the kind of weird relationships that he gets into with these women, or where they feel like that it's not fair to them or what have you, or they're treated in a transactional way. Like, you already knew all of this going in. And then and there are all these tweets and stuff showing that you were interested in pursuing him, and you were joking about it, wanting to be the next one or whatever. I don't remember, but people know what I'm talking about, right? So all this happens, and then it turns out you have the baby, and then guess what? It turns out this guy behaves in exactly the manner that we would all expect him to behave in this situation. Or did you think that you were going to be the exception? He didn't know you, as I understand it, Ashley, he didn't know you very long romantically, or it was not a long-term relationship. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it seemed like something. He didn't marry you. You weren't engaged or whatever. So like, what reason would one think, what reason would one have to believe that one would become this like wife figure or girlfriend figure or whatever? I don't know. So this is what I posted, but I do think, y'all, to get back to what I was saying, I do really agree with those who say that Ashley St. Clair, it was Valentine's Day. She felt rejected basically by Musk. She felt her child to some extent was rejected by Musk. And she decided that she was going to lash out. And so if you look at some of the things that Ashley St. Clair alleges, let me go back here to this and I'll show you my screen. Some of the things that she alleges in the New York Post article, she alleges that Elon Musk refused to put his name on the birth certificate. It's one thing. She alleges that he wanted her basically shut away and the baby shut away, in the sense that he didn't want them with him at public events, or them standing like Siobhan. Basically, he did not want her to be the Siobhan person in his life. And so she was complaining about these things. And then there was an article that came out in the Daily Mail or something, a source close to her, to me, that seems reputable. And often the Daily Mail is reputable, at least in transmitting things that people are saying. Now, they may not be saying truthful things, but the Daily Mail actually generally does not just make up stuff out of nowhere. But someone purporting to be close to, in this situation, purporting to be close to Ashley St. Clair, said that what actually happened was that Ashley St. Clair had a disagreement with Elon Musk and basically wanted to get his attention or get back at him or whatever on Valentine's. Okay. So I've posted several things over the last day or so about this. See if you think that they're too harsh or not. So there was the chess thing. Okay. And then this, Ashley St. Clair is mad. If you can see this. Someone call it. Okay, sorry. Ashley St. Clair is mad because she thought she'd nabbed a billionaire and was going to be his public girlfriend. Then she realized, no, she was just a side chick incubator that he was so embarrassed about that he wouldn't even put his name on the birth certificate, and wanted her and the baby hid away like an old world concubine with a, sorry, yes, bastard child. Might have gotten a little too colorful with language there. Frankly, I think she deserves it. Make your own way in the world, girl. Don't try to leech off a man using your sexuality. Might have been a bit harsh there too, honestly. I don't know. It deserves. I mean, the child, if the child is going to be, I know materially it'll get whatever it wants or needs. If the child's going to be neglected in some ways or have an unhappy mother or whatever, like, I don't want that. And I don't want her to be unhappy. But I think that the way that she has obviously, the way that she has obviously conducted herself, her life in such a willfully blind way. Either this woman was in denial or I don't know what the deal was, but this situation would have been obvious, I think, to any woman with half a brain here. And to have apparently pursued, it seems like, pursued this guy, if what I'm seeing online is right, pursued this guy, or he pursued her or whatever, but she had been apparently writing things on Twitter before that about how, she has her eye on him, or does he have a girlfriend or something like that, right? So basically, she wanted this to happen. She knew what she was getting into. There was nothing in his track record to indicate, or in his behavior, that this was not how things were going to work out. And then it happens, and you're sitting in apparently a $15,000 a month apartment in swanky part of New York City, and you've got a cyber truck, and you've got God knows how much you've gotten, Ashley, God knows how much extra engagement and extra views and extra followers on Twitter as a result of how much Elon Musk has promoted you on his page over the last months or year or whatever, right? I mean, constantly. In fact, people were even saying things at times like, why is Elon promoting this chick so much? Not that you don't have some intelligent things to say or whatever. I don't think you're some dumb chick. And people are saying that they've not looked at your page or your work. But I think you've gotten a lot of benefits out of this transactional relationship. So then for you to then turn around and do something outing your kid and yourself and the situation vindictively there, I don't know. Anyway, it isn't my business. It's true. But something about it does rub me the wrong way. And it does almost to me have slight shades of she who will not be named. But let me show you something else that I also posted about this. This was something else that I had an issue with. Let's look at what she's wearing here. So this was one of the photo shoots that she did for this New York Post article. Can you see this? Yeah. And then I'm going to check in a second. Well, let me check right now. It's Lively versus Wayfarer. Okay, come on. Here we go. Batter up. No, there's still nothing. Do you think y'all we're not going to get something from Blake Lively, or is she just going to wait until until it's late, people have gone to bed? I mean, I guess if you're Blake Lively and you're putting out, I guess if you're Blake Lively and you're putting out an amended filing that you don't think is really going to impress people, then you're wanting to put it out as late as possible so that some people look at it, but then they go to bed and they don't care. And then the next day it's old news or whatever or something, right? Instead of putting it out at the beginning of a day where you're going to have people like me who are just all of us, Candace Owens in the front waiting to pounce on it, right? So I don't know, but surely she's got something. So surely there is an amended filing coming, right? I would think. I don't know. We will see. All right. So here's the thing, y'all. This is what she wore. This is what she wore in one of her photo shoots for this big kind of earth-shattering article in the New York Post that was coming out that interviewed her. And this is going to be a lot of people's first introduction, or their introduction to her. First introduction is redundant, but their introduction to her. All of this PR now is Elon Musk's baby mama and podcaster, et cetera, right? And so, if you're Ashley St. Clair, that, oh, sorry, one of my lights went off. That's okay. If you're Ashley St. Clair, that you're already going to have to fight this perception that you are, for lack of a better term, morally or sexually problematic, right? And I used the slang, not so kind term. And I probably shouldn't have done that. Sometimes I go a little bit too far here in my description. And this description, maybe I did. I'll read it to you in a second. But I'm someone who I talk a lot about how I have a real issue with trad perspectives and this neo-trad propaganda often, because I don't think that women should be, I don't think that there should be this double standard for women being able to be in multiple relationships or sexually experiment, or men being able to do that, women not being able to. But I also recognize that there are general trends for society that are better than others and all that. I've mostly stayed away from all of this stuff. But the point I'm trying to make here to you before you look at this, what I wrote the other day, is that I actually have, for lack of a better word, a real feminist streak in me. And as someone who is not legally married and also does not have children and does not follow a stereotypically feminine path in life, I'm not out here saying that anyone needs to be in this situation, should be shamed for their sexual behavior or what have you. Of course, I know a lot of people saying that this was just conceived in a lab anyway, but I mean, this was a part of a romantic sexual relationship here, right? Anyway, here's my point. I'm not out here to be slut shaming women for their clothes. All right. Just to get to the point. But I have to say, when I look at this outfit, I say, what the fuck here? Because if she knows that she is going to, right out of the starting gate with this thing, that she's going to have to fight accusations of being some dumb hoe or some dumb chick or just a gold digger, just someone who uses their sexuality, in fact, that she's this hot thing to ensnare this billionaire businessman, blah, blah, blah. And look, she's not a good representative for the trad movement. Look at how much sex she's had. And do you remember she used to be a porn cam girl, blah, 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 blah. Like all of this stuff that everyone is either hearing or that some people are talking about loudly on the internet. She knew that she was going to have to be facing that anyway. And what then does she choose to wear in this very prominent act of introducing herself to the world in this New York Post story? She wears this corset bra thing, halfway underwear looking lingerie thing, and whatever the technical term is for this, ladies, if any of you are Victoria's Secret workers or you work in a Victoria's Secret shop, tell me what I'm looking at here. I ain't that fancy, but this thing, y'all, is like the low cut bra outline. I mean, I can't believe this is like me the other day actually having to look at Blake Lively's hair and analyze the frizziness of it. I was just like, this really seems beneath me. But at the same time, it becomes relevant when these women make this stuff relevant. And this, and one of her complaints is that, she's basically reduced to this like harem girl, sex object thing, or that's what, the people who are defending her online, a lot of her defenders are saying that this is sad. There's this slut shaming going on and all of that. Well, okay, but then the way that you present yourself, it actually does have some kind of natural effect on how people view you. And so this is how you're going to combat that image, and you want people to take you seriously, is wearing underwear in your photo shoot publicly. I just don't understand. So this is what I wrote. And I'm sorry if it's a little harsh. I don't know. I said, nothing says I'm a serious woman, not some hoe, but also I'm still sexy if any other billionaire wants to have sex with me, like a see-through black corset bra thing under a tailored black jacket. Yeah. I mean, I was a little harsh, but just the thing is, and ladies, back me up. Am I wrong? I'm a woman, so I know the games that women play. Just like if I were a man, I would know the games that men play. And we all, to an extent, know the games that each other are playing. But like, there are certain things that as women, like, we just have to cop to, we just have to admit to. And ladies, am I not right when I say that there's no way that she chose this to wear without wanting to seem sexually provocative in some way? Tell me this is something that if you're in the situation that she's in, and you're getting the kind of public perception that she's getting and that she's going to have to deal with, and her son or her daughter, I think it's a son, her son's going to have to deal with, and all of this. And tell me then that you decide to put on this black corset underwear bra thingy, and you're not thinking about sexuality at all, or projecting sexuality or something. Give me a break. Give me a break. Wait, Ryan Reynolds is running Mint Mobile ads on my channel. What the fuck? I love it. I love it. I guess, why would that be? I guess because the AI, it's not literally, of course, and no, you don't mean this, Ryan Reynolds or his company deliberately doing this, but like, I guess the AI is picking up that I keep talking about Ryan Reynolds. And so it's thinking, it hasn't caught on, I guess the AI hadn't caught on to the situation. And so it's thinking that maybe I'm promoting Ryan Reynolds. And so this is a good place to promote Mint Mobile. I don't know. They say that all PR is ultimately good PR. So maybe Mint Mobile thinks that, well, what the hell, even if she is talking shit about him, it's still some PR. That is funny. I need to get a shot of Ryan Reynolds here now, just for a second, so that if I decide to use this clip for something, because it would make a funny little clip. I've got Ryan Reynolds in the back. He just looks so goofy to me. I've never thought he was that attractive. People say that, and then they're like, oh yeah, like you would turn him down in real life or whatever. I don't know about all that. I'm just saying, we're talking about movie stars. I find him not attractive as a movie star. All right. So yeah, so Ryan Reynolds is running Mint Mobile ads on your channel. What the fuck? Oh man. Well, hey, listen. This story never went anywhere, but while we're on the subject, thank you, Puppies for Peace, because while we're on the subject, I have to ask you, Nick Viall or Viall, or how do you say his name, y'all? Y'all tell me about Viall? No, but seriously, someone tell me in the chat how you pronounce it. I did watch that season of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, or which one. I know he's been on a couple of them, right? But I don't remember how you say his name. But Ryan Reynolds. So I don't know where Nick is at on things now. Okay, so here's my question basically for my audience. Just a minute. Let me bring this up. Oh, I just lost my other light, but that's good because I was getting really tired of them. Okay. So I know it's kind of bad quality, but anyway, here's my question though for all of you. I had been told, I had heard, I don't watch his podcast, but I had heard that in the early days or the early weeks of this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni controversy, but this was right after Baldoni had filed his lawsuit, his first lawsuit, that Nick Viall or Viall, Nick Valley. Oh, I was completely wrong. Nick Valley. That sounds better though. It's a better name. Thank you. I was told that Nick Valley had, wait, how can that be? It looks completely like it wouldn't be spelled that way. Are you joking? Are you joking? Whatever the fuck his name is, Nick V. Been told that Nick V was defending Blake Lively and that he was one of the few podcasters that had been defending her and was continuing to defend her. So I'm curious, does anyone know? I haven't heard about him lately. Is he still defending? Is he still on Team Lively Reynolds, or has he just kind of gone quiet? Because people were pointing out that if you go to Nick's page or his podcast, one of his pages, and I have this on my Twitter. I don't have time to scroll through and find it, but if one of you wants to later, just for your own curiosity, you can. But apparently in the fine print,
Nick's podcast is funded by, at least in part, is funded by Mint Mobile. Like they're a sponsor, right? They're apparently one of his big sponsors. And so someone was pointing this out online. It might have been Zach Peter. I can't remember, but someone was pointing this out online and they were saying, isn't this interesting? And yeah, it really is, because as a podcaster, I don't have any companies funding me, but I can tell you that if I did have a company, like let's put it this way, let's say that Marilyn Manson had a company and that, and I don't know, like he doesn't, he should, but let's say he had like a clothing line. It was called, say, like Dark Shadows Apparel. That sounds stupid. Okay, whatever. But Dark Shadows Apparel. That's this fantasy thing of Marilyn Manson's clothing line. And so let's say that Dark Shadows Apparel was a major sponsor. So that could mean that it's funding the whole thing conceivably. But let's say it's half. Let's say it's some huge number, right? You don't think then that that would influence my coverage of the situation? I mean, I try to be honest and all of that, right? And someone might try, but that's something that's a big deal. So it's almost like saying that Nick's podcast is sponsored by Team Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. But anyway, I'm looking in the chat here. Anybody have oh, it's like Viall, Nick Viall. Oh, okay. I thought Valley was funny. So does anybody watch this or listen? Like, is he still on Team Lively Reynolds, or what's the deal with him? So anyway, I'd like to know. By the way, find me on Instagram here. And you can also scroll through to see my PayPal links or link and links to other pages. I'm also on TikTok, trying to get 10,000 on TikTok so that I can get monetized there, at least before it gets canceled again or whatever. Rebel Bird, and hello to one of my mods. Also my other mods, Vanessa V, you see on here a lot. Laura B, and I saw AJ earlier up there. They'll come and go, but I really appreciate them. Rebel Bird says, I've never heard of this Nick guy before. Yeah, so he was on several episodes of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and kind of became, in his own right, a bit of a social media personality. And apparently, at least early on in this, he has been Team Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds to a degree. But I don't know sort of what the latest is. Both my lights went out. Let me fix something. It's a little dark for my taste. It's not bad, though. Give me 1 second. Be right back. I want to thank Corinna. I'm just going to leave it like it is. It is a little dark in here, but whatever. I'm not going to be on too much longer. I want to thank Corinna, by the way. Don't want to give you away, say your last name, but it says, great to wake up to your voice and energy. Thank you for the PayPal donation and for that comment. Waking up then. So you are on the other side of the world. Cool, cool, cool. And I know that right now there are other podcasts going on. Pop Culture Crisis. I love them, and I normally will not go up against them. I just need to start. I need to start starting on time, honestly, or maybe shooting for even 12:40 or 1:45 Eastern. Get me started a little earlier. But I know Candace Owens coming up too. I did want to say, just to close out with a little bit on the Jay-Z thing, which is to say I did do a couple of videos on this. If you want to actually know why I do think that he has been falsely accused. And of course, there's also why that lawsuit got dropped. The attorney and by the way, there's only been one lawsuit, one allegation or set of allegations by one person who has been completely debunked about Jay-Z. And so again, I've done a video on that. I'll link to it below if you're wondering. But what I was going to say is Jay-Z, look, Johnny Depp's attorney, one of Johnny Depp's attorneys, that Wayne Denizen guy, whatever his name is from the trial, not one of the bigger attorneys, but one of his attorneys. He came out several weeks ago in an interview with Newsweek, among other topics. He talked about Jay-Z, and he said that the
the legal strategy and behavior of Jay-Z's representation of Alex Spiro and that team, and the way that Jay-Z and his lawyers had behaved, was really unprecedented. Reminded me actually of what people have said about Brian Friedman, but really unprecedented in the sense that they were now going after the lawyer. In other words, there's a flashy Texas lawyer named Tony Busby, who is the main one bringing the 150 claims against Sean Combs that are out there in the legal realm, and talk about civil suits. And so he's very much into these kinds of flashy, high profile Me Too type cases, among other things. Well, this Tony Busby guy, he's got an extreme swagger about him. Let me show you a picture. Actually, he's got a real extreme swagger about him, and he regularly posts wild stuff on his Instagram, and at times even threats to some of these big guys that his clients are suing and so forth. And also flashing his lifestyle, private jets, golfing trips, and all of this. This Busby guy, he loves to, and big cigars, he has an exotic animal ranch in Texas. And so you'll see him posing with different wildlife and whatever. Very, very flashy guy. He has tattooed, I read a write-up about him in Vanity Fair from a while back. He has a big tattoo apparently on his arm, I believe. And it says in Latin, "War with everyone." War with everyone. And he talked about how that is basically the theme for his life and as an attorney, right? So he believes in a really rough PR game. And by the way, I just want people to be aware, that's one of the reasons why this Me Too stuff is so fascinating, is because it's not, and worthy, by the way, of attention, and why people like Candace Owens and others are so drawn to it. Megyn Kelly. I mean, there's a number of people getting into this, right? And the reason for that is that it's important and compelling on levels even outside of the salacious sexual accusations. And so what we have with lawyers like Tony Busby or Brian Friedman or Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, and various others, and we saw this kind of getting started with Adam Waldman and the Johnny Depp years, is that there is an understanding that the legal field really has merged with the PR field, and that these two are going to be, these strategies from the legal and PR realms are going to be executed with reference to each other. They're going to be put into action in a sort of a co-equal manner. And so you've got these lawyers now, whether we're talking about Brian Friedman or we're talking about Tony Busby or Alex Spiro, whoever, who are out here actually trying to get a lot of unconventional attention for their clients and their claims and themselves even. And they're doing it often in interviews and social media and all of that, right? So that to me is really interesting, even when I disagree at times with the lawyer, like in this case with Tony Busby, or I think that he's been doing, in my opinion, shady stuff or disreputable things. And I agree with Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, in this situation, this regard. But it is interesting to see. And so basically all what has happened is that, and I did a video on this, again, I'll link to it below in the comments when I finish, you can check it out. But basically what's happened is that Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, he and Jay-Z, they filed a lawsuit against Tony Busby, the guy representing what they claim is Jay-Z's false accuser, for defamation and other things. Basically, they're suing this lawyer, Tony Busby, for getting this lawsuit against Jay-Z ginned up, basically. And this is interesting and unprecedented, because this is the first time in one of these big, particularly in one of these big celebrity cases, but really this is the first time in one of these big cases, and then one of these Me Too cases in this instance, where someone is not just going after a false accuser for defamation or suing them like we saw Johnny Depp do with Amber Heard, but someone is actually now, Jay-Z is actually now going after the opposing side's attorney for assisting in that defamation. And what's so unprecedented about this is that it's always been understood that the attorney is merely a representative of the client, and that if the client is lying, that has nothing to do morally or ethically speaking with the attorney. You know, an attorney is always supposed to represent that. A lot of people have this idea, traditionally speaking, that the attorney is always supposed to execute the will of the client. And it's and like, you know, a defense attorney, for example, or in this case a civil law attorney, that they're not supposed to turn something down, turn a case down simply because they're not sure if the person is telling the truth or not, or they think that they might even be not telling the truth, right? And I'm a layperson. I would love to get Andrea Burkhart or Legal Bites or any of the other lawyers around that I love to explain this to me. And I would love to do a show where we dig in more to the significance of what's going on here between Jay-Z and Tony Busby. So, you know, please message Andrea Burkhart. I keep wooing her and tell her that I really am in need of assistance breaking this down and understanding this, because it is unprecedented. But anyway, here's the thing. As a part of this battle, a woman, let me put it this way, a former client of this Tony Busby guy that you see on your screen right here, a former client of his recently sued him several weeks ago and alleged that he had sexually assaulted her, and that he had given her a sexually transmitted infection, and that he had, as her divorce lawyer, had changed the legal records to make it look like her husband had been diagnosed with this sexually transmitted disease and had given it to her, so that then there would be legal documents claiming that someone other than Busby was responsible for this STD. Yes, you just heard me right. I don't have time to repeat it, but yes. So there are those who have claimed that this was Jay-Z and Jay-Z's attorney, at least this was his doing, that some people working for Jay-Z basically were going around trying to recruit people to go after Tony Busby in a kind of a retaliatory move to undermine him, to make him look bad, et cetera, right? I don't know if that's true or not, but here's what I'm trying to communicate to y'all, is that this game, this Me Too game, it has gotten kicked up a good notch or two in some of these cases, and we're going to continue to see these types of trends. And what I also said in my video the other day on this Busby thing is that I think that Jay-Z and his lawyers have figured out that this is a dirty, dirty game that they're playing, and that if they don't get into the mud, then they are going to get fucking annihilated. And that is what happens. You have to defend yourself. And I guess this is the point I'm trying to make then, if we are going to talk about the Baldoni case. And I in no way am saying that it's the same or anything like that. And you can totally be against Jay-Z and be for Justin, and yet also be for Justin, right? It's fine. But here's what I want to say. One of the things that I think happened in the Blake Lively Baldoni situation, and I think we see this in the textual evidence that we've gotten, is that early on there were all of these warning signs that Blake Lively was going to be a problem. It was going to be difficult in all the ways that we know she ended up being difficult. And a decision was made to kind of roll over, or to accept it, and to not draw or maintain clearer boundaries. And you see this even in the way in the following months that Justin Baldoni basically felt like he had to just bow down to her interpretation of things and just get through it, do the best they could. And for the longest, of course, you know, they were trying so hard to avoid any obvious public conflict, right, with Blake Lively. And to me, to me, what we see here is sort of the problem with appeasing someone like Blake Lively or with Ryan Reynolds is that eventually they back you into a corner where you have to fight, or they will just annihilate you. And these people often, the instigators in these things, often, like Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds, they often don't realize that they've gone too far, and that finally at some point they're going to push someone so hard that person then will have to start fighting for their lives. And when you are fighting for your fucking lives, that is then a whole other level of battle there. And so with the Jay-Z thing, the point I'm trying to make is that we have had now, since Me Too, we have had years and years and years of false accusations. No, not all of them false. I don't know how many. If I had to guess, if someone put a gun to my head and said, you must guess, honestly speaking, what percentage of celebrity big name Me Too cases are false allegations, my honest answer would be 50 to 60%. I don't think that that's the rate at which women lie about this stuff in the normal world, or, you know, normal encounters, non-celebrity stuff. But I do think that a significant number of false allegations, and you add money and celebrity and all of this into the mix, and the personality disorders of people who are often attracted to these types of celebrity encounters and scenarios and all this, and what you end up with is a lot of false allegations. And then even in the case of like Blake Lively, we know there was all this other stuff going on apparently, right? And so, yeah, so the point that I'm trying to make is we have had years as a society now, years and years and years of seeing lots of false allegations and seeing a lot of people getting canceled or being for a significant period of time ruined and put through significant pain. And you could even say like psychological torture. We've seen that, and we've seen people just, the falsely accused, just really getting beat up on. Well, finally, what's happened is that you've gotten some people now so backed into a corner that they finally see, we're all seeing finally what time it is. And some people are like, screw this, I'm going to fight this shit. And when I look at Jay-Z, and of course there could be evidence comes out in the future or whatever changes my mind. It's always the case for any case, right? But I really do at this point, I do think that he is not guilty of what he was has been accused of, and that was not guilty of what he was accused of in that crazy crackpot lawsuit by that crazy woman that's now been dismissed because her own attorney Busby has run away from it. But anyway, what I see when I look at Jay-Z's post on this situation, I'll go back to Jay-Z here, no longer the lawyer. What I see when I look at Jay-Z's post on this situation, and all of them clearly, I think, coming from him and not pre-written for him or anything, I see someone who is angry and who has had enough and who is determined to fight. Not just determined, he's not just going to accept, okay, she dropped the allegation, Busby dropped the allegation, we won, now my reputation is restored, now I can go back. No. He claims that he lost $100 million actually during this period when these accusations were out there, when this lawsuit was just filed, and when Busby was out there talking shit about him. And I totally believe that. But whatever, they tried to cancel him and ruin him, his reputation, his career, family, all of these things. They tried to do that. And so even though this thing has been dropped, he is not letting it drop. And he is going to continue, apparently, and this was the big news recently, that Jay-Z is going to continue in his lawsuit against the big shot, flamboyant Texas lawyer, Tony Busby. And so it is a new game, y'all. And I think that one of the reasons why it's important to cover this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni stuff, where if we're talking about some of these other celebrities, these cases where I think they're falsely accused, I think that it's important to cover these things because we really are in, honestly, uncharted territory with a lot of this stuff. I'm totally serious on that. And we're in uncharted territory, and I don't know where it's going, but I think that what we're going to see is with this case, the Blake Lively thing and other cases, we're going to see some really interesting permutations along the way, really interesting times like side roads and some really just crazy events, like crazy things happening, honestly. So did I miss anybody's, let's see, we got grift. Does it say grift or gif? That's a grift. That's what people say. That's what she said. $2. Thank you. Rebel Bird, thank you for this. For the care of Ethan's bastard child that he denies. Yes, well, and that's the thing. If he keeps denying it, then I'm going to have to come out with proof. And so Ethan Ralph needs to understand, seriously, just a second, let me get through this. Ethan Ralph needs to understand that if he does not come out and publicly claim and stand by his child, then I will have no other choice but to do an entire episode of my show where I introduce all of my viewers to this child. I'll put the child on screen. And I mean, he's backed me. Speaking of backing someone into a corner, he's backed me into a corner with that. And he won't pay child support either. And I can't send a team down to Mexico to get it from him. So I don't know what to do. And the only recourse that I have is just expose our private life to you know, millions of people. Well, hundreds of people. All right, y'all, that's it. I got to go. I'm tired. I think I covered everything. Did we ever get the amended filing? Let me check one more time. We did lose a lot of viewers, but I know that's because Candace came on. This was not, it was truly not my best live stream. I'm still kind of tired, but I told you all I'm working on, and no, there's no update here on the filings, but I told you I am working on some other videos. So I'll have some other things out today, and I hope you'll enjoy them. But thank you to my mods again. Thank you to my viewers, and I'll see you again around this time. I'm going to try to start being earlier. So around this time, though, 2 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. And y'all, I will probably come on and do another live stream as soon as the amended filing hits, but no obligation there to my mods to show up or whatever. Again, Pop Culture Crisis and other controversial shows don't use mods, and they're okay. But I understand the concern, and it certainly does, I'm not going to lie, y'all, certainly does make things run more smoothly, significantly so with the mods around. So I appreciate them, but never want them to feel obligated. Okay, everybody, bye-bye. See y'all later. Check out my other stuff. And yeah, adios.